In the previous video, we did implement the elements of the detail view. Now, in this video, let's fetch the data from the internet and populate in the UI. So, let's go to the browser, and if you remember, this is the first API URL we have been provided, and if you hit it, you will get 20 list of Pokemon. We have already done it in our home view controller, and if you remember the model, this is the model, and we had a result type which contains a name and a URL. So with this URL, we will fetch the detail of the Pokemon. So this is the URL of a particular Pokemon. So copy this URL, and if you paste it, you will get the detail of the Pokemon. So now let's check pretty printed. This is the pretty printed JSON, and if we paste it in our Sublime text editor, you will see different attributes and everything of the Pokemon. I'm searching for the elements which we need to populate in the UI. Here we have height, we have the name, and inside the sprite we have front default. In the front default, we get the URL of the image. So if you paste it in the browser, you will see the particular image of the Pokemon. So let's just use this and make a model. We will only take the JSON object which is necessary for us. We'll not use rest of the things. So let's just copy the whole thing. Let's create a model. This time let's give it a name, detail model. Rename it. So we need height, we need name, we need weight, and we need this sprite. Let's just delete all this. And we need the sprite. This is the sprite. The sprite we need only the front default, and the coding key we have a hyphen. Let's just copy the whole thing. Don't need this. We only need the front default coding key. Yeah, that's it. The model is done. So now let's make a new file in the network, and let's give it Pokemon detail delegate. Let's give it a name. Detail delegate API. Detail API delegate. Which will confirm detail API delegate. And let's make a function fetch detail with URL of type string. Let me check again. This is of type string. Import combine. it will return any publisher with Pokemon detail model. And it might return an error. Conform to the protocol. We can just copy this and reuse it. But we don't need to add any query item this time. And the URL is from the parameter. Pokemon detail model. We can try some different approach using key path. If you want to use key path, you have to use /data. This data represents response.data. We don't need the type response.data. It can map to data automatically. And we have another combine operator, which is decode. From decode, we can simply just paste it, and decoder, JSON decoder. Now we don't need the try map anymore. So whichever approach you like best, no problem with any of this. So we can go to the detail view model, and we can reuse lots of stuff from the home view model. Let's just copy this and paste it. Now detail API delegate. This import combine. Now we don't have anything called this. We have fetch detail. We don't have anything of this with URL. We can pass from the parameter. Now, where can we get the parameter from? I need to pass the parameter into the detail view model from the home view controller, so let's do it. URL of type string. We'll pass it in the parameter in the initializer. Now let's go to home view controller. Here, if you remember, we have got the URL from tapping a cell. So we brought it here. Now we can pass it. URL of URL. So if you pass the function, pass the parameter now. Detailed data is just checking if everything is okay. Let's hit and run the simulator. Missing argument. In the preview, you have to call the URL as well. We are not passing any URL, just pass an empty string. You need to satisfy the preview. So if we click, here's detail data is, and got the data successfully, and height, name, sprite. So we got the URL inside the sprite from default. So we need to call another API to get fetch the image from the server. So let's just do that. Let's give it a name, download image. and it will be downloaded from an URL, and this time it will return only a data, and we don't need to map the error, we don't need to decode it, and it will never fail. If it fails, we will replace error with empty data. So there is no chance to fail. And URL, we don't need to convert it into URL because it will be URL automatically. So that's how we can download the image. Now let's use it. We need to implement the protocol. We need to declare it in the protocol, otherwise it will not work. Download image with URL. Rest of the thing is mostly same. We might need it later. Image data is so we can call it from the fetch detail with data sprites fetch default. This is of type string, we can just make it URL. That should be okay. So if we hit and run the simulator, so yes, you see first this API was called fetch detail, and then after it got the result, it downloaded the image and we needed the data, so it got the data and task was completed. So now let's assign this data to a publisher. Pokemon detail model type of type, and publish for image. We will make an UI image and we need to import UI kit for that. So the Pokemon data is the data, and we need to convert the data into image. UI image from data, which is the data, else return. If we can convert it into image, then in our image we will assign the image, converted image. So this image is this one, and converted image. Let's change the name to make it more clear. Even Swift was confused. So yeah, that's it. In the next video we will do some validation, then we will populate the data in the UI.